Hey y'all, it's Andrew Couch here, and this Tiger Tuesday video, we're not going to be doing any coding today. Instead, I wanted to offer 5 tips for starting your own data science projects. So I've definitely been getting some questions about one, how I got a data scientist position, or how I found jobs in data science, or how I even developed some skills in R. And the main answer is I just started a lot of side projects in R. And I truly think that um, data science projects or just projects in general will give you some competitive edge to other candidates, especially if you lack if you lack some type of experience. Say you had an internship revoked during COVID, or you're just trying to find an internship. Um, my first tip for starting your own first data science project is to choose a topic you're actually interested in. If you're going to spend like 40 to 100 hours coding and working on a data science project or model, you should at least be you should be interested in it, especially since you're putting on your resume. You will be needing to talk about your projects a lot. I know when I was doing a lot of interviewing, I was constantly talking about the problems I faced in my projects, why I'd even started these projects, and what it actually does. So choosing a topic you're interested in is an important aspect of a data science project. And these topics can range from a lot of things. So on one hand, it could be just you're interested in sports. So you want to do a lot of sports analysis or sports models, or you could be interested in a specific data science technique, such as like time series analysis or classification models. It really doesn't matter as long as you have some type of interest in what you're trying to do. My next tip for your data science projects is make sure that the data you're using requires some type of cleaning or some acquisition process. So with Kaggle, Kaggle has really great data sets, but Kaggle should not be used for your data science projects to be put on your resume. Because Kaggle essentially is like the gym for data scientists, where you're trying to practice and strengthen your skills, say in like modeling or computer vision. But when you're out in the on the field, actually doing it in the applied workplace, your data will be more messy and it will require more cleaning. So with my classification model for the sorting hat project, most of the data came from a package. But the data was just the entire text of the Harry Potter books. So it required a lot of data extraction, where I essentially had to extract all the dialogue from the books and create labels for the dialogue, which required a lot of regular expressions and also use of n-grams. Additionally, I have another side project called my UFC sports betting model, which required some data scraping. So I created some functions to scrape some UFC fights and UFC data, and that was basically how I created my data sets for my UFC sports betting model that I'm working on right now. So one thing that's also good about just like having your own data acquisition functions or data scraping functions is that you're really able to understand the data that you're using, and you kind of get a nice understanding of like what you're trying to do, and you can talk about it more. So my third tip for starting your own data science projects is to make sure the project is easily understood by HR. With HR, they're going to be the first ones reading your actual resume, and they'll be seeing your projects first. And you always have to consider that HR is not technical. So you should really try to keep the jargon at a minimum and have some type of high level summary so that anyone who reads it will understand what you're trying to do. For example, one of the main reasons why I created a Harry Potter sorting hat model and not just called it like a NLP text mining model, NLP text model, is because everyone knows what Harry Potter is. It's a very popular franchise, and people know what the sorting hat does. So when they read Harry Potter sorting hat model, they can understand that it's like some type of model that will determine what house you belong to, right? And what's interesting about it is that most of the time, people, when I interviewed, would ask me about the Harry Potter sorting hat model over Sweetboard, because the Harry Potter sorting hat model just seemed more interesting to people who aren't interested in data science. Uh, which is one of the reasons why I kind of regret creating Sweetboard, is it's a little harder to understand what this dashboard actually does. But I mostly created this dashboard because I was using it for my own work, just doing a lot of Twitter text analysis. So I decided to actually keep it on my resume. But I would definitely recommend to create a project that's easily understandable. I was actually watching some videos of side projects for software engineers. Although it's not directly related to data science, um, a lot of the projects were very convoluted, where you had to have some type of computer science knowledge to get understanding what they were doing. And I think that can be detrimental to a lot of resumes, because most of the times it's going to be an HR person reading your resume first. And if they don't understand it, they're just going to throw it out. And it basically wastes your time because you spend a lot of time on the project, and it hurts your job prospects. So my fourth tip is to make sure your project has a clear clear relationship with delivering business value. So creating and doing an analysis on something is great and all, or doing some type of like correlation or topic modeling on a data set is cool, but you need to have it relate to business value. And business value is either increasing revenue or decreasing costs. So, for example, the Harry Potter sorting hat model, when a data science hiring manager or someone technical sees it, they understand that it's basically an NLP classification model. And NLP classification models, or the Harry Potter sorting hat model, can basically be repackaged to like a customer churn model that would read like email feedback, right? Which is pretty easy to understand how it could be used in the workplace if you just tweaked a few things. For Sweetboard, it's essentially a tool that could speed up the process of doing text mining, or NLP, which can basically decrease costs by increasing efficiency and productivity among like analysts who are wanting to study some text data. Finally, my last tip for starting your data science project is, when you actually finish your data science project, you should have it public somewhere. So, for example, I would recommend that you just put it on your GitHub. I think GitHub is basically the gold standard for data science and software engineering. So just having your repo or your project on a repo is important. One thing that I would say is, most of the time they won't actually look at your code, but having your GitHub account on your resume can add some credibility to it. Additionally, if they do look at it, you want to make sure that you're documenting well, and you're kind of coding with some best practices. So it's not just a mess. You have some type of thing that is organized, is understandable, and is readable to anyone who wants to see it. When you're also showing your projects, I would recommend having some type of visual component to it. So, for example, I have a public Tableau account, and I created a dashboard analyzing the Iowa elections. And this actually landed me an internship and a fellowship. So having some type of visual component is just better in general, because people don't really want to see code. They want to see some type of visual aspect of it to get us. So it's easier to get like a so what or some type of outcome. I also have my Sweetboard on my Shiny app. So there are a lot of free services that will allow you to deploy things online very quickly. So definitely have that in mind when you're creating a model, is have some type of present page for it to present your findings, or at least to add some interactiveness to it. Let's see here. And I think that's basically it for today. I wanted to make a video just on data science projects. I'm a huge advocate for data science projects, and I think the best thing to do is just start the project. Keep these tips in mind, but it's better to start working on it first and then kind of tweaking it. I truly think that data science projects are all very valuable. If anything, you'll be able to learn something new, and hopefully you'll be able to find a job. So I'll see you guys next week, and tidy on.